Welcome to an errandless doom scroll patrol where we doom scroll so you don't have to. Today we're talking about Trump dying, we hope so, RFK's worm brain chaos at the CDC, eugenics mania from our tech overlords, back to school church shootings, AI wanting to kill your grandma on Medicare, and the collapse of AMOC. I'm Sam Perez.
I'm Harold Moss.
I'm Hannah Snape.
Stick around, it's gonna be a barn burner. Because I kind of didn't know we were going to record because it was like up in the air, and that was my bad for dropping the ball. But I don't know. The only thing I can think of talk about is maybe Trump's dying, which is great. I mean, it's like obviously there's shitheads to take his place, but
well,
I've got a few things lined up.
Is there more updates other than his ankles and his weird skin lesions?
And talking about worrying about getting into heaven was another one.
Oh yeah, that was my. Sorry about that. Speaker was on. I forgot I had it on.
Excuse you there, Sam.
So what? He's talking about getting into heaven?
Yeah. Hold on, let me bring it up. It's actually like I sent it to some of my friends because Trump has. Sorry, I also have a mechanical keyboard. Sorry, guys, I am just fucking up today.
He's got ants in his pants.
Yeah, I had.
In his pantry, anyways.
Yeah, right before I told Harold, I was like, sorry for the double. Facing the two fronts of I was like uploading social media stuff, and then there's carpenter ants in my kitchen, and I'm just like trying to fucking get everything.
Oh, that's
I got ants in my pants. Now everybody dance.
Squirrels in my pants.
Let's see. Let me see if I can find it. But like
squirrels in your pants that's a problem.
Well,
okay, here it is. So
also a cultural phenomena.
Just to let people know, Trump probably dying. He's got like a weird, like sore, almost like bruising on his hand, which is like very common in like older people who are like declining in health. One of my friends, she's a hospice worker, and she's like, oh yeah, we see this like constantly. But anyways, he had this to say, which, okay, I'm going to read it first. He just said, on Fox News, I want to try to get to heaven if possible. I'm hearing I'm not doing well. I'm really at the bottom of the totem pole. Which goes back to like this thought I've always had that like, I wish Trump didn't become just like a dumbass fascist, because like he's inadvertently really fucking funny, and it
very
sucks. Yeah, like
and he's and he's advertently funny. I mean, we got to give him that.
Yeah, he actually
his intentional funny stuff is so tied up in cruelty that we're not the natural audience.
Yeah, but like
except
that,
for Hannah.
Yeah, Hannah's the natural.
Cruel, cold Hannah.
But yeah, reading that, I remember like I was laughing. Like I was just like, this is so fucking funny. Like this is something like Tim Robinson would scream on like, I think you should leave.
I'm kind of low on the totem pole.
Yeah.
I'm worried about getting into heaven.
Yeah, like just like, I want to try to get to heaven if possible. I'm here, I'm not doing well.
I'm here, I'm not
really
doing well. I'm trying to get into heaven.
Yeah, like that's a Tim Robinson.
That's a good Tom Robbins bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're welcome that I distanced from the mic before I screamed.
Yeah, I should have. But no, it's
well, I mean, and
great.
there's a reason. There's multiple reasons why Project 2025 wanted to speed run the end of democracy in America, and one of them was get it all done before midterms in case they lose the houses. That's the practical one, but also, they have no respect for Donald Trump. They all look down that, you think Peter Thiel is like, that's one smart man. That's one really clever individual. You think Elon Musk is like, what a towering intellect. I mean, Elon Musk's and his intellect we can get into, but he's a useful tool. He's a useful fool for them. He's the bludgeon. He's the hammer. And they are moving as quickly as they can to try and tear everything down before they have the House and the Senate and him or him. And they knew this. He's an old dude who just shovels Big Macs and Kentucky Fried Chicken down his gullet and refuses to do even walking for exercise.
Have you seen the theory? I've seen it a couple times. So syphilis in men.
Oh yeah, that's the other.
Usually, it doesn't start showing symptoms until like way later in life.
Yeah.
And a lot of those symptoms we are kind of seeing in Trump.
Ooh, I could believe that's. I mean, that's what happened to Al Capone. He went insane because syphilis was eating his brain when he got older.
Yeah, it's like
and that's the other thing. Yeah, it eats your brain.
Things that just literally drill holes in your brain. Entirely plausible. And the challenge for them is, I mean, admittedly, Vance is one of the most charismatic political. I can't even. It's that.
I thought for a second you were like, "Well, what?"
I really wanted to. It's like trying to yell cruelly at Hannah. I just couldn't maintain the bit.
No, I could yell cruelly at Hannah.
I'm weak.
Yeah, go hard.
No, you can't.
I can take it.
No, you can't. I dare you. I dare you.
Yeah,
not on Mike. Maybe after we record.
Mike,
I don't want.
Maybe if I imagined her face and hid in a closet and scream.
Yeah, maybe after.
I just need to tell you all the horrible things I've done. Then you can do it. I've done so many horrible things.
I bet they're disappointing on the horrible scale.
Probably, but hey, it's all about context.
It's all about context. That can be another episode where we all bring out the worst things we've ever done and air them in public.
And then see if we can get elected to president.
Right.
Yeah. The first thing I'm thinking about is that time I tackled a cop.
Yeah, but that's awesome.
That's awesome. Come on.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a humble brag.
Yeah,
you're fucking humble bragging, dude.
Yeah,
that would have been
the worst thing I ever did. That time I tackled a cop.
That would have been like
that
if I said,
when I fought off 4 Nazis with my bare hands and
when I
sent
used
them
to get
to
into
the ER.
street fights with Nazis, and we used to go to heavy metal shows and get in street fights with Nazis.
Yeah, that's Sam. That's the worst thing you ever did.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm sorry. That was a pathetic humble brag. I mean, it was kind of an awesome humble brag.
I just wanted your reaction because I knew it would go that way.
Yeah, you did exactly. That's why it was a humble brag.
Well, thank you.
The worst thing I ever did was overthrow world. No, I haven't done that.
So here's the thing, though. If Trump does die, which inshallah he will, is Vance that takes over?
It's Vance, and one of the things
is he worse? He's probably worse.
He's worse. He's Peter Thiel's boy. Like he is his creation. Peter Thiel just dropped in, and he's his homunculus. Yeah. So he's worse because he's also not an idiot. He's reasonably intelligent, is absolutely stone cold sociopath. But he's like the ultimate punchable face in the world. Like he doesn't have the charisma. So I think and they have this illusion. They don't want a 25th Amendment or lose Trump until, I think it's sometime in 27. If he takes over too early, he can only run once. So they have this imagination that Trump's replacement will be able to run for 2 terms. But what's going to happen is a fracturing of their base. And so the race is, can they pump Trump full of enough drugs and whatnot to keep him going long enough to dismantle enough democratic institutions that they can maintain power regardless of how unpopular they are. That's the race we're in right now. Can we dismantle American democracy such as it is with all its limitations, but its dismantling would be bad, long enough to not need Trump to rally the base? But even Trump's obviously losing his ability to, because it's just the speed run of idiocy. Like anytime a Republican shows up anywhere in front of a mic where their constituents are, it's like a bloodbath, metaphorically speaking.
They are up to something.
RFK Jr., as well as being just a charlatan, an idiot, most likely literally worm-eaten brained just buffoon.
Potential serial killer.
But why is he being allowed to dismantle, as he is, not just the medical research, but canceling research into mRNA vaccines that could deal with cancer, not just bringing back measles and probably polio, but they're now trying to make it so people cannot get COVID vaccines, right? So, that's what's going on right now, is that we've got a number of people. They fired Susan Monares, who is quitting over the vaccine, was fighting back over the vaccine things. A number of other leading figures are quitting. In fact, when they quit and they were escorted out, hundreds of CDC employees gave them what they call a clap out, where they're applauding because the CDC employees are there because they want to stop people from dying. So this is a real question. What is the interest? What is the interest in bringing back measles and polio and letting the COVID, which we're having a surge, run wild, and being unprepared for the next COVID vaccine? There's one of the guys who quit, a guy named Dimitri Daskalakis. Sorry, it's a Greek name. Was talking about RFK Jr.'s approach to bird flu, which was let bird flu rip. Bird flu, which is decimating chicken stock and populations and all that. Said let it rip. The ones who survive will have the good genes, and those are the ones you should be breeding. And in that same conversation, he said, Donald Trump's got good genes, right? Now, this is just quite explicitly that, and what Dimitri tied together, this is eugenics, right? This is eugenics. This is let the weak, let the sick die, and the good gened ones, which the idea of Donald Trump having good genes is, if you traffic in such things, is and RFK, it's kind of laughable. But let the weak die, let the sick die, let the poor die, and the strong will survive. And if you're rich, of course, you get the best gold-plated healthcare that you could possibly want. There's no way RFK Jr. would have lived through the shit he did. In fact, he killed a couple of relatives by getting them hooked on heroin. I mean, his body count is quite high. Killed relatives, getting them hooked on heroin. Samoan young people with his anti-vaccine campaign, the measles, yeah. And already there's deaths now attributed to him, and the deaths from him are going to just grow. And the infrastructure that's being destroyed cannot be replaced. Maybe decades of rebuilding. So what is the interest in here? And I think it really is eugenics, because Peter Thiel's, the techno-fascists behind all of this, the money behind this, they think AI is going to replace everybody. They don't need people. They need a lot less people. And they are trying to deal with, what do you do with all this population? Well, you just let them die. That is literally what we're dealing with here. Now, I'm not ironic thing, but I actually had another topic up that I want to go on, the idea of imperial boomerang, which is eugenics isn't new, obviously. And we've got lots of genocides under our belt here in the United States. And it's the fact that it's now, the imperial boomerang is the idea that all the horror that the empire carries out abroad, and in the United States, certainly internally in terms of native genocide that the whole thing's built on, and African genocide, built slavery, but that all of those things that are pointed at the other eventually come home, right? And that's what we're seeing now, is these people are eugenicists. They are happy if they could just wipe out the inconvenient parts of the population. And we're being acclimatized to this with Gaza every day. That's the future that they see. Those are literally the stakes. These smart people, evil smart people, are aware that the climate change is catastrophic and is going to lower the ability of Earth to support large populations. And they're okay with it because they think they're going to win it. Sorry, that was quite a tirade. There wasn't a single chuckle in there. Nothing funny about what I said.
Well,
Yeah, it was a barrel of laughs.
This is so much fun. It's freaky.
as one of the people that eugenics would target, I have an autoimmune disease, a genetic condition, and other comorbidities. Just gotta say, I don't have any allergies, so that's good. I don't.
Yep.
So sucks for you.
So Hannah,
that's all I got.
so do you like being in America now?
That's right. Hannah's come to visit the front edge of the apocalypse.
Well, okay, I'm in a very, I'm not seeing America as America here because it's very, I don't know the words, very strongly structured communities that have been around for a long time. I'm only in, family neighborhoods and, everyone knows each other and, that kind of community
Well,
thing.
that's a big part of America.
Yeah,
It's
you're
being destroyed, but it's...
Yeah, you're in the Gabagool districts.
Yeah, that one, exactly. But also, I might start talking like a Boston accent because.
But you're in New Jersey.
I know, but me and my boyfriend have just been talking in a stupid accent for 4 days, and we can't get out of it.
So you just park.
You got in the car, you went to the park, and
Exactly, we went to the park. We got some
you're
Pokemon.
a bunch of
Gotta get them
burglars and
Pokestops.
smugglers.
That's right. You know how it is. But I don't know. I feel like I'm seeing a very nice, small piece. At least compared to Canada, these are this is a culture that I've never experienced before. Everyone's looking after each other. Everyone's connected. Everyone has family nearby. I'm used to my family being 12 hours away at the closest, or across the ocean. So it's I don't feel like I'm actually getting how a lot of people are living in America.
but that's an America that's being displaced and
right.
taken away. But it is that's a core part of the American experience.
Yeah. And it's something I've never experienced before. And
But small town, that's
I'm
kind
in
of
a
small
movie.
towns are like
Yeah.
that. But small towns are dying because the works can go on tariffs. So, farmers commit suicide. Saw a horrible video of the guy who sells used tractors, and he's 6 of these are from farmers committing suicide, and that's what the tariffs are just going to worsen and all that. And he's like, I don't, that's not how this business should work. I don't want, cheap tractors from suicide. But that community, and that's, it does still exist. And it exists in cities where neighborhoods that have been around for a long time. But capital just wants to kind of slide people around to where they need them. So there's a lot less of it.
Yeah, well, it definitely doesn't exist in Canada, at least from my experience. This level of connectivity and there's a whole network of people, and it's just a total other realm than what I've seen.
You're
I think it's
experiencing
really
a bit
beautiful.
you're experiencing a bit of America's past part, some of the upsides of America's past.
Well, the places I've been told that it's all very old school. This is all everything's old, everybody's old.
Well, because the young people have gone somewhere else.
Yeah, well,
find
they're all
work.
in college right now or something. So, yeah, I don't know. It's really beautiful, and I'm just really enjoying my time here. And I'm just completely disconnected from all the horrible shit.
Well, it's not I mean, the thing with the horrible shit is it's easy to ignore until it's the brick wall you run face first into, right? And that's what they depend on. My family's not getting deported, therefore I don't need to worry about it. I'm not disabled, so why should I worry about them cutting that? I don't need Medicaid, even if, and although a lot of that is the lie, because even people who don't need Medicaid, their local hospital most likely depends on it. So it's it's the illusion of disconnection is the kind of the critical underpinnings of being able to push forward this plan in late stage capitalism.
Yeah, well, I can see how people can disregard like the politics and all that stuff. Like it's not applicable to daily life.
Until the climate disaster hits their neighborhood, until they develop a disability, until the lifelong job they thought they had disappears, whatever it is, you know.
Well, and I think that's something I've thought about more too, because, you know, technically, I think in America, I'm considered now disabled, having type 2 diabetes. And that's now something I have to think about, which is like, you know, like, oh yeah, I have to look at my future now as technically like a disabled person, as a diabetic, and like what that means with like healthcare and all that stuff, which, you know, is
scary.
Yeah, it is scary. But
like, I'm like, what if I want to live here with my boyfriend at one day, and then there's no Medicaid, or I don't know how the medical system works, but if there's nothing that can save my life if I need it, and I don't want to go into debt, like, because that's the thing in Canada. I survived like my pulmonary embolism because I went to the hospital and I got free care, and then I lived. But if I was in America at that time, I was living in poverty. Like had just moved out on my own for the first time and was like barely making ends meet. I wouldn't have gone to the hospital. Yeah. So I don't know. It's like, fuck.
No, it's I was the same, because like I almost didn't go to get checked out, but like I could tell something was up. I was like, because I didn't have any of the normal side effects or whatever of like diabetics, and I just knew like something was up. And so I finally went to the doctor, luckily, because I use like basically the healthcare marketplace, and I get it pretty cheap. It wasn't that expensive. They covered a lot of it, and even like my pills are pretty cheap. But like if I don't have it, some of those pills are like really expensive, and like I have to like, there's like one like I kind of have to just have probably forever, and like it's like, I mean I'm luckier than most. I mean, even if I had to pay full price, it would really suck, but I think I could probably do it. But but that's just something I have to think about. It's like, okay, well, what if it all comes crumbling down, and like, how do I do this? Because like I don't want to lose my feet or my eyes, so I have to plan that kind of stuff.
Well, and this is where politically we've got to get to, because the people most proportionally dependent on it are actually Trump voters at this point, in the red states, and Trump voters, and that's what they're racing against, is the rage. They've tried to push off some of the cuts to after the midterms in this race, you know, the big race between dismantling democracy and public outrage. And that's going to be, we have to see if that rage can build up enough. It certainly is. Nothing's popular about what they're doing. Nobody wants it except for the oligarchs.
Well, it's crazy too, working in social services, especially when I worked in a small like Utah farm community, overwhelmingly Republican. And we had like a food pantry, and so many like Republican people, they'd show up in their MAGA hats to get free food and services. And then sometimes they'd be like, we got to vote for Trump and get all the immigrants out. And it's like, you guys realize like, he will destroy this, you fucking morons. Like,
well, and there's a, you know, like one of the things you see in posting and whatnot is we've got to keep deporting immigrants until housing is affordable, right? And first of all, it's evil as a thought, but let's look at the facts underpinning it, which is, first of all, most of although they're getting legal residents who've been here and have established careers. So maybe those people at least are actually competing on some level for housing stock. A lot of the folks you're talking about aren't actually even competing for the housing stock.
Because they can't get like HUD. They can't get on any Section 8. They can't
also
do any of that.
But there's a very, the reason that housing has gone up so much is groups like BlackRock, private equity buying up housing stock en masse, turning it into shitty rentals, or oligarchs banking empty, in New York, it's a lot of oligarchs from around the world using it as a bank to store stolen money in luxury rental units, which was Donald Trump's whole business model, right? You just sell to Russians and it's all, it's a shell game. But that we can get all the immigrants out, is not going to fix any of that. It's not going to fix any of that.
Yeah. I just wanted to say, I lived like 2 buildings away from a Trump Tower in Vancouver. And I just wanted to share an observation of the people that I always saw going in there. Lots of animal print. That's all I got to say.
Well, it's the fashion.
What's the plan they've got for Medicare now that they keep saying we're not cutting, although they're cutting? The plan for Medicare is to use AI to require pre-approval. Now, private insurance uses pre-approval as a way to prevent people from getting the care they need to stay alive, right? That's you have to get pre-approval for something to do it. They're not only adding that into Medicare, which is a public health program, which is not supposed to do that, but they are going to be using AI to do it. And again, eugenics, slaughter. This is what these people, it's all of a piece. This is what these people want to do. So they want to use AI to prevent people from getting healthcare they need from Medicare. Right. And that's when we look at and the thing is, when we talk about AI replacing jobs, forgive me if you've heard me say this, but I'm going to keep shouting everything about AI to the rooftops. Cory Doctorow, the writer and thinker, put it best. He was saying the jobs that AI can actually, there is a class of jobs that AI can actually replace, and they're bullshit jobs. They're jobs that have been so deprecated by capitalism that they already are meaningless jobs. And the biggest example he gave, which is offshore customer support. It's not supposed to be good. It's supposed to be there because you have to have it, but it's supposed to be an unsatisfactory experience that you don't want to use again if you can possibly avoid it, because they're trying to avoid the expense. So awful customer service experiences is a job that AI can take over. AI will be very capable of being an unsatisfactory customer service experience. But when we look at something like this, what's the job of the AI? The job of the AI is one thing: to say no and sound plausible in saying no. Sound plausible. That's a perfect AI job. I've been getting in work, I'm seeing more and more people writing stuff with AI. And every time what I get is, this sounds actually pretty interesting. And then I start trying to take it apart because I'm supposed to do something with it. I'm like, oh wait, this is actually nonsense. Right? So that's what AI, large language models, are really good at. Scrape up a bunch of plausible sounding gook and spew it out. So the job of preventing people on Medicare from getting proper health care is a perfect AI job. Killing old people with plausible excuses, couldn't dream up a better scenario.
Yeah, so is it going to act kind of like insurance brokers? I know it's a huge thing where
well, not a broker. It's going to sound like it's going to act like the person at the insurance company whose job it is to tell you can't get that health care and that they won't cover it.
And usually that it's the people who need it the most who get denied.
Well, the people are going to cost them the most.
Well, yeah, exactly.
I was at my dentist, and it just, I did not start this conversation. I was just walking by, and there was a woman just saying, I hate health insurance, because she's dealing with. And then they're like, that's all we say all day. That's all we say all day. They're just talking. This wasn't even me, because this sounds like Harold shit stirrings for certain. It's just like, that's all we do all day is we've got to deal with insurance. And that I know what started it. I said, I think I covered, because I had a tooth bridge thing I had to get done. I was like, I think I covered all the costs last time, right? So I don't think I owe anything. And she says, come on. Of course, your insurance decided they were going to pay less. So you've got to cover that. And then that was them just going back. This is what we do all day. Is just talk about how much we hate health insurance, because we're trying to prevent people from getting bankrupted by making sure that their teeth don't fall out.
Yeah.
So the healthcare industry
AI is going to do it. Woo.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I
With
trust
robots.
I trust AI that can't even make hands correctly to fix my body or judge my health.
Well, we are going to. That is a big. They want AI teachers, because the people only need to be good enough to push some buttons or die. Healthcare is going to be, taken over by Walmart, right? And you are going to be pre-screened, and you're going to have an AI. This is their vision, right? It's not inevitable, but it's absolutely that you are probably getting healthcare done by an AI agent. And there'll be a margin of error. Oops, wrong medicine. They died. Saved us some money. This is literally healthcare at the strip mall, with probably one or two humans overburdened and the AI agents taking up the slack. That's the vision
like,
they have.
It reminds me, and I'm sure it's like people quote it or use an example, and I used to be one of those like, no, you guys are overblowing it. But that movie Idiocracy, there is some truth to it. Like, there's a part where he goes to the hospital, and it's just like these 3 tubes, and you put one in your ear, one in your mouth, and one in your butt, and it like just analyzes, and like the control panel is just like this bright Fisher Price looking thing, and it like lights up. So like at first the guy's like, well, what hurts? And he goes, well, I got a headache and I do this. And as he's doing it, the guy's like looking at the big colorful buttons, and one's like a head with like someone going like, ow, or like a tummy ache. And he's like trying to pick which one is like happening. Like, that's like what AI feels like. It's that scene is like, yeah, just put in these 3 tubes and get on the big McDonald's play place machine and like hit some buttons, and like we'll fix you. Like, it's fucking,
the difference is that the future that they see is that's for
the rich or something.
Well, that's for everyone else, and then the rich will have
like
state of the art everything. The thing that the billionaires keep and will never stop forgetting, which is why we need to get rid of all billionaires for their own sake. As well as ours, the ones who are willing to accept taxation out of being billionaires. The others, we've got a Fisher Price machine. It's a large tube plastic framing with a sharp blade. But is that you needed all of that state of the art, top of the line, best stuff is built on society. All the things they think that they will continue to be able to hoard is built on a society. And if you destroy the society, all of it starts falling apart. All of it starts falling apart. And the AI agents who are only suitable for taking over bullshit jobs, they're not gonna fill the gap. Sorry, Hannah. Go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say I still don't understand why billionaires are so against being taxed. Why not? Like, you're never going to use that amount of money, ever. Generations of your family is never going to use that amount of money. What is the point?
I think that one of the reasons why conspiracies take off is sometimes the best conspiracy theories speak to a truth without literal truth. And I think that the conspiracy theory that carries the most truth in it is that there are lizard people who are actually running the world, and that these people are actually alien and not human. And I think I'd mentioned this before. I'd read somewhere someone who did some wealth management saying, and they said something happens around the $2 or $3 million range, that a switch gets flipped and people just start becoming something else. So I don't think that it's actually lizard people, although, but I don't think it's actually lizard people. I think that the lizard people theory speaks to the deeper truth, which is there comes a point when people become so separated by wealth and power that they are no longer fully human. They are genetically human. They are not lizards, but they have lost touch with their fundamental humanity. And so they see themselves fundamentally in some kind of adversarial relationship with the rest of not just humanity, but the rest of life on Earth, in which they need to just continue to extract. And so the lizard people's a good metaphor.
No.
Right. Why isn't there, I don't know, maybe we're just too early in the billionaire era to have checks and balances, but.
Well, we're definitely seeing political movement finally in the United States. We need to see labor movement of scale. But we're seeing political movement, the Mamdani thing that I've talked about so much, but, sorry, I want to make sure that I got the name right. Here we go. In Maine, we've got another example of this, which is a guy named Graham Plattner. He's an oysterman vet who is taking on Susan Collins. Susan Collins is a Republican. She's the one, if you don't know Hannah, she's one of the Republicans who's always terribly concerned about some evil,
we talked
horrible.
About episode,
Oh, so we talked about. Did we talk about Graham last time? Yeah. So there is a beginnings of that. The challenge is, can we prevent this movement from being co-opted by the Democratic wing of the billionaire class? Right. So there is a political stirrings on the electoral front. We need it on the labor front. There's just definitely disgust. But the way that these people are connecting is for people saying, why do we have billionaires and everything's going to hell? And so I think we're seeing the beginning of it. Question is, how bad does it have to get? And do they win? And we're in Mad Max / Idiocracy.
Yeah. Speaking of the other big... Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
So I was just going to say, if we do get to Mad Max, at least I feel like the billionaires won't have the survival skills. I guess they'll have all of the equipment and the bunkers and everything. But everything else, they're not
But they won't have
great.
it. They won't have it. They'll get... Because they worry about this. They worry about... How do you need shock collars to keep your security from killing you after society falls apart?
I remember there was like a leak on some billionaire like Reddit. It's like something like that. But
it was a guy who was called in as a consultant and being talked to by these rich people.
He was like, how do you prevent like your military bodyguards you hire from like just killing you and taking over your compound or whatever? And it's just like, Jesus Christ.
That's what they're, and they're wrong. That's why I said we are saving them from themselves, and certainly their children from themselves, because they will not, right? And Mars is not survivable ever without a thriving Earth, if ever. But if it is, it's going to be contingent on a thriving Earth. That's the only way I do believe humans should be a spacefaring. I think that's great. We should. That's great. Yeah. Especially.
No, we should die here. We should not go anywhere. Stay here and die.
I think we should, but I think the only way we do that is if we actually have a different kind of society, one that cherishes all life on Earth, that cherishes all human life, and that is able to build the kind of resilient strength that also isn't going to be just replicating something horrible somewhere else. But it won't even work, because without Earth, there is no spreading through the solar system.
We should probably talk a bit about the big story of the newest school shooting that just happened.
The church shooting.
Yeah, the church shooting, which, all the dipshit chuds being like, oh, thoughts and prayers. It's like they were literally praying and they got shot.
And they were children.
And they were all children. Yeah, so
And it was another. I mean, they're also hyper focused on the trans identity of. At one point, seems like a confused person that was working stuff through, and they're all trying to ignore all the Nazi shit that was written on all the gun magazines. This was someone who is in that pipeline that we've seen other shootings behind. This is someone who is absolutely fallen under far right, alt right craziness, and they're trying to. There's something, the lie they're trying to push is that trans people are more likely to be mass shooters, and the actual stats
there only
are
been like 2, if
that.
that?
It's the actual stats are that trans people make up about 0.88% of the population,
which is like
probably a little bit higher, about 1%. Let's say it's probably a bit higher because obviously it's something that people hide because
which is
of all
what,
this evil.
2 million people in the entire world, if that.
3 million people in the U.S. 2 to 3 million people in the U.S.
Okay, so like.
What were you taught by AI?
Yeah. Hold on. Let me ask ChatGPT.
Let me ask ChatGPT.
How many trans people?
But mass shootings is about 0.1%. So it's about 1/8 underrepresentation, where of course cis white dudes is massively overrepresented. I think it's about 80 to 90% when they're about less than 50% of the population. So it's just a lie. It's cis white men that are core mass shooters. Not surprising looking at the society.
Do you think cis white men turn to mass shootings instead of becoming serial killers? Do you think I've thought about this for a little bit? It's like, I don't know, just this idea, because like there wasn't a lot of mass shootings before. There still was in America. Mass shootings have always been kind of a part of our country.
But this kind of thing is the clock tower in Texas. Yeah.
And I've always thought, because then around the 90s is when because 60s, 70s, 80s was like the golden age of serial killers. And it's like,
I'm still nostalgic.
Yeah, we're all nostalgic for Dahmer and all those fucking dickheads. But I've always wondered if that's kind of true. Like kids now turn to mass shootings instead of serial killing. And my pet hypothesis is because serial killing is a lot harder. Because it's like you have to plan a lot more. And my other pet
use AI.
my other pet theory is it ties into Guitar Hero becoming so popular, and kids didn't want to learn guitar, so they just played Guitar Hero. So
now the serial killers are lazy.
You get the same feeling playing Guitar Hero and Rock Band. Yeah, but you don't have to learn. Just like a mass shooting, you can just run out and shoot a bunch of people, getting that same high. Whereas a serial killer is way more focused, and they have to plan shit and do shit. It's not fully, like I said, I'm still.
That's definitely a half baked. Was that a at the Chinese buffet theory development? Scenario.
It was smoking some dope at
the Chinese buffet.
No, it was at the Indian buffet.
Oh, the Indian buffet. Okay. Well, the modern mass shooting thing really did start in '66. It was the University of Texas tower shooting, and that was that was the idea of just indiscriminately gunning down large numbers of people. That was kind of the kickoff. Mass shootings in terms of people just killing each other in larger, because a mass shooting is, I think, 4 more people.
Yeah, it's either 3 or 4.
Yeah. But that kind of mass killing is a modern phenomenon.
Yeah, but this isn't me trying to make light of the situation that happened.
No, it's really trying to. What is the motivation?
Yeah,
it's also
is it the dopamine? Is it the feeling they get? Because I never look at mass shooting stories. There's a lot of them, but every time there's a big one in the news, they always are dead after. I don't know if they kill themselves or whatever.
They often do. This one killed themselves. That's very common.
They use it as a reason, as a big enough reason that they can now end it. What?
I think there's a lot of alienation and a feeling of not a lack of power, lack of attractiveness, lack of whatever, and that sense that I'm going to be somebody. People will remember me. There's also in this alt-right online community a grooming of people to carry out mass shootings, so it's not accidental. It's kind of like the extreme outer edges of the manosphere, get into encouraging people to carry this out. Some of this by organized Nazis who are trying to spark things by encouraging young people to turn into mass shooters. So I think there's a lot of different it's like lots of different components. But yeah, the lack of executive function is part of it if you really wanted to do it. But I do think it's just it's more, they plan it, but it's a little bit more impulsive, I think, than like I don't even know that they're all sociopaths, right? Yeah. Serial killers tend to be sociopaths, but I think that they're just like, I want to have meaning. I remember during working on Michael Moore's Bowling for Columbine and just seeing, well, in the Final Cut, but also as some of the longer things when the South Park guys, because Columbine was that was their hometown. And they were like, these two kids, like if they just knew that high school ends.
Yeah.
Right? High school ends and the kids felt left out, unliked, they were weirdos, all of this. And they're like, we felt like that too. But like high school ends. So there is that degree of just like, if you can stick around long enough to fucking grow up.
I think it's more than that too. I think a lot of these people are like mass shooters. I think they have a tendency to be both bullied and bullies. I think they're really cruel. And I think that's the same thing with the Columbine kids, is they were actually like big fucking dickheads. They weren't like the Revenge of the Nerds underdogs. They were like real assholes to everyone. And
excepting the rapey parts of the Revenge of the Nerds.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. But I mean, yeah, that's all bad.
No, I know, but even in how they were presented, yes.
Yeah, but like, I think that's how a lot of these mass shooters, because I remember reading some of like their manifestos, which also their manifestos aren't that good anymore.
Now they're probably being written by ChatGPT.
Yeah, by ChatGPT. But no, but like reading it, it's all kind of the same of like it's a lot of it is incel shit of like, oh, girls didn't like me and I'm gonna make you all pay because I'm just a big fucking loser. But it's almost like they're all cruel and bullies to begin with. They're not and they're not like these like, oh, these sad.
But that's where it's the outer edges of the manosphere kind of thing, which is, I'm cruel, I'm an asshole, and also for whatever reason, maybe because I'm cruel and an asshole, maybe because of awkwardness, it's probably some combination of that. I'm not liked, I'm not getting positive feedback, and so the grudge, right? That's the whole manosphere is about that, the grudge. Mm-hmm. You're just carrying a grudge that you're not getting what you deserve. And it's a grift, obviously. And then I think that's the overlap of the Nazis and that manosphere thing, which is people intentionally manipulating these sociopaths to go out because they want to start a race war, right? That's a big part of it. They just want to make things bad.
Yeah, I don't understand. Because like, I don't know. I had a really hard time in school. I was a huge fucking nerd. Everyone bullied me and shit. And like I don't understand. Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
I don't know. I don't understand. I don't know.
I mean,
my pain made me grow, and their pain makes them kill people, and it's like, what?
Well, you're an inverted sociopath, right? That it actually, you have tremendous empathy and concern and love, and the pain that you felt made you not want to see other people feel that pain, right?
Yes. That's exactly
so imagine if you flipped all of your impulses. I mean, the fantasies I had when I was bullied didn't involve mass shootings of random people in the hallways. I was not good at fighting. I think I had mentioned this before, that if I threw a punch, I would imagine what it felt like to their face as if it was my own. So my hand would collapse. Like my empathy just stopped me from being able to fight. So my fantasies were being able to just clock someone and just knock them on their ass, which is inappropriate.
No, I still have that fantasy. Yeah. No, I still have that fantasy now.
Well, no, but that's an appropriate fantasy. That's an appropriate response to a bully or a Nazi, is to knock them flat on their ass. There's nothing inappropriate about that. When people are being cruel and using violence and fear to hurt other people, knocking them flat on their ass at best is a perfectly appropriate response.
Yeah, my fantasy was like one of the pretty girls would say hi to me in the hallway. I was like, one day they'll notice me.
Well, I guess the only thing left to say is, notice me, senpai.
Have we talked about the Atlantic Meridional? I'm going to say it bad. Atlantic Meridional Overturning Circulation, or AMOC. That's the current that runs up. It's what makes Britain and the UK and all of that around that warm. It's critical for ocean life and a whole bunch of things. And there's been concern that it would collapse. And that collapse would start to look more like the Hollywood version of like climate change, like sudden catastrophic impacts. And there's been a whole lot of conversation about, well, will it not? Is it 100 years in the future now? And now they're seeing it more and more possible after 2100, and partial, very possible prior to that. Even with some of the lower emission scenarios, it seems like it still might happen a little bit later down. But the impacts could be, in the next decade or two. And also the thing we're finding with everything about climate change is, seems like every year it's like, oh, that happened faster than we thought. Oh, that happened faster than we thought. So like the era of find out is so fully upon us around climate. And this is part of the thing that I just, how does one communicate that to get people to realize that this tiny cluster of billionaires is going to take literally everything away from everyone and it's totally unnecessary. Like, that's the question that we face. There is absolutely no reason every child could not be fed, could not be taken care of, educated, with a safe place to live. There isn't a reason why all of us and species could rebound and everyone eat. There's some tough challenges to figure it out. Not all going to be easy. Most of it not that hard. And the only reason is this tiny percent of a percent clustering all this wealth. And how do we communicate that in a way to break through? And there's a reason why the social media platforms are not our friend in doing this. And here we are on them trying to figure it out,
Yeah, I'm privileged in that I have built algorithms that just show me people who are on that page. So I know that there are a lot of people out there who are very aware and they're trying to figure out how to communicate that. So I think I'm blissfully ignorant to the amount of people who have not made that connection and are actively.
I mean, our elections wouldn't be contested like they are if we had convinced people of it. I am happy to see one of the good news in the United States that being a genocide supporter and a Zionist supporter and funded by AIPAC is starting to become disqualifying, at least amongst the Democratic Party. And you do see that, and that's because of the brave people who got arrested and occupied, and everybody who was shat upon for resisting it is the reason. And everybody who's continued to speak up about it, and the people who were brave enough and threatened their careers and deportation and all of that, that's the reason. We are seeing some of the shifts happening. What I like most about what Graham Plattner's saying is he's like, this is about power, right? He's such a dude, which is, we need a mix, but it's good to have some dudes in the mix of the left, And he's like, it's about power, and are we going to use it? We've got to take it, And he came out on Israel and Gaza immediately. He's like, why wouldn't I? It's people skirting around it. You're going to have to talk about it eventually. So I just kind of do it. So it's definitely breaking through, but it's the power question that's the tough one, and they'll do everything they can to undermine that power,
So do we all just need to start talking like that and just
not all of us. I think that's why I'm saying it's good to have that in the mix. We need, we need that in the mix.
It seems people are very receptive. to just
Well, but Mamdani is definitely not that, right?
Right.
Mamdani in New York is not that.
He can't even bench 130 pounds.
Yeah,
or
exactly.
whatever the
Which
fuck
is like
it is.
that was one of the latest things that came up is people pretend because he couldn't complete a bench press. Is it like you all really don't get what people love about him?
Which
and it
also
ain't
too,
his
like
ability to bench press.
I don't need a politician to be Macho Man Randy Savage. Would I like it? Yes. However, it's not like.
That's
it's
Graham
not like-
Plattner. That's you got
Well,
one.
yeah, that's one. But like, I don't need every single one to be that. And like,
No.
I don't want to vote for, I mean, I'm not in New York, but like, I wouldn't vote for Mamdani because it's like, oh, he can bench a lot? Hell yeah, bro. Like, it's like, no, he wants to make life affordable and good for people. Like, I don't give a shit. That's like when I see RFK and his jeans, like doing really shitty push-ups and like stuff.
And his pull-ups are just like, I mean,
Yeah,
they're not
he's-
even pull-ups. Like, this
No,
is the
they're
whole
not.
thing that we're bringing back the presidential challenge. It'd be like, if I tried to pass that off as a pull-up when I was in junior high school when we used to do that, I would have gotten my ass handed to me and laughed off of the bar. It was like, you need to do a full pull-up. These people are just such, everything's an act. Everything's a grift.
Yeah, it's stupid.
Sorry.
Yep. So that was the good news. Great.
That was the good news was the EMOC, which would probably plunge all of the UK into immediate famine.
Well,
I mean,
do
that
they
includes
deserve
Ireland.
it?
Don't forget that's
Maybe.
Ireland also. That's
Oh, that's true.
All of the British Isle. That would be Ireland and Scotland. Yeah.
Well,
and
we
there's a lot of
can-
people in England. That,
we can give food to Ireland. Everyone else, you're on your own.
Yeah.
You kind
You got to
of,
figure it out.
yeah, I'm
You
sorry.
ruined it
England.
for the rest of us.
Yeah, I'm
You're on your
sorry,
own.
England. Remember when you caused a famine in India and Ireland? You
and
bitches?
Ireland, yeah.
And
So
probably
maybe
every other continent.
Yeah, probably. So, kind of deserve it. No offense.
I know.
Thank you for listening to Doom Scroll Patrol. Like, comment, and subscribe to Undeniable Network for more content and to support our work.